Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Visor. In today's video, I'm going to show you on a very interesting chess game played between Ludwig Hammer and Magnus Carlsen. And it was a blitz game on chess.com. It was 3 plus 0. And the interesting thing was that Magnus Carlsen was actually streaming. And another interesting fact that you would like to know that Ludwig Hammer was one of the mains where Magnus Carlsen was playing the 2013 World Championship. With that note, let's get started now. With the white pieces, Ludwig starts the game with 1 e4 and Magnus goes g6, modern defense. Pawn to d4, pawn to e6. This is not the move, or this is not the way to go here actually. If you are playing the modern, you have to follow it up with the move bishop g7 and then the game continues. But with e6, while you are or you committed this g6, you are actually weakening the dark squares heavily. Knight f3 and then knight to e7, pawn to h4, trying to open up the position on the king side maybe. Generally when you play h4, people will try to play this move, pawn to h5. But in the game he plays h6, trying to prepare the move pawn to g5. Say for example, if you push forward, black can simply push down with this move pawn to g5. In this position there are few main moves, that is knight c3, bishop to d3 and even knight sacrifice on g5. So it is very much playable here after h takes g5, bishop into g5. White, what is the benefit of sacrificing the knight on just like sixth move of the game? The benefit is that you have every line is opened for your pieces and you have already a pass pawn on h5. So this is completely playable for white, and also it is better for white. But in the game he plays bishop f4 and then bishop g7, getting ready to the castle. So he stops that by playing queen to d2. If you castle, you lose the pawn on h6. So he tries pawn to d5, just trying to strike in the center. Here also the main move was to play knight c3, but in the game he plays e5, giving up f5. Sometimes this kind of opening I have seen many times, that people playing the d6, that is the first defense, as well as the g6, the modern defense. When we play this advancing move with the e pawn, we give up the square where the knight will land. But in the game he played a pawn to c5, striking in the center again, and that is defended with the c3. Knight b c6, putting pressure by developing the piece. Knight a3, looking to go to the b5 square. He simply parks the king on f8. So here, say for example, the main move, or to stop this idea, you have to play a6 here, and then the knight will have to come back to c2, and then the game continues. But in the game he plays king to f8, and then Ludwig simply captures on c5 and holds on. I think now he can hold that pawn. Understanding this, Magnus simply plays b6, just giving up one more pawn to accelerate his development maybe. So c into b6 was played, and then queen takes b6. There is a simple or small pressure on b2. Here he plays bishop to d3, just getting ready to the castle. Suppose in this position, the move is recommended by the engineers to play knight to b5, looking to go to the d7 square maybe. D6 square. So let's say the main move is to simply put the queen back here, or developing move bishop to d7, and then the knight goes to d6. So the knight looks great on that square, but for some reason he did not go for that variation. He plays bishop d3, bishop a6, trying to attack the light square bishop. Pawn to b4, trying to gain more space, and also not only that, he is actually threatening a fork here. Okay, so in this position, the main move again to take the bishop, and queen takes, knight c2, controlling the center, and then you get on to the game, like maybe you can castle on the queen side. But in the game he plays pawn to b4, trying to fork him, pawn to d4, trying to do the counter attack in the center. The main move is to actually fork him, so pawn to b5. But here he inserts this in between move, that is d into c3. And here the right way to continue the game for white is to play queen to e2, just form this battery, and also you keep the threat as it is. But in the game he played I think he played queen to e3. Suppose if he plays or if white plays this move, queen to e2, then knight to d4 is the move for black. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and then after b into a6, the bishop is hanging. So we have to play this bishop e3 move, trying to attack the queen, and then after takes, and here white is completely better. Going back in the game, he plays queen to e3, trying to exchange the queens off the board. And here Magnus plays knight to d5, and forcing the things here actually. So queen takes b6. So this is like the move number 16 that we are seeing right now. In the next 10 moves, the game is going to be finished. And also here there are a series of exchanges going to happen, and you have to be precise in each captures. Like a into b6 was played, and then b into a6. So many pieces are hanging actually. If you look at this position carefully, like a6, c6, a3, as well as f4, d3, everything is hanging, and even g2. Let's see how it progresses. B into a6, and then knight takes a4, and then bishop e4, trying to pin down the knight. So rook takes a6, bishop into c6, and then rook takes a3. And here, like we mentioned earlier, like when he played like queen to d2, he was stopping the castling, right? Like forming the battery, threatening h6. And here also he stops the, what do you say, the artificial castling by the king by playing queenside castling. This is like the best move in the position, and he finds that and he plays that. And here Magnus tries to escape with his king by king to g8, but now comes the move rook to d8 check. Going back in this position, if Magnus tries this king e7, the problem is we can give this check and get the draw by repetition. But in the game, he tries king to g8. After rook to d8 check, this is the point of doing the queenside castling. You bring the rook into the open file and attack the king and stop the king to, or you stop the king from hiding to h7. And now black is actually kind of winning this game. It's because many things like a to b g2, and also you have this clear pass pawns and you are completely winning. But you have to play this only move that is going to hold your game, that is bishop to f8, and then you are preparing the move pawn to, sorry, king to g7, and then you are fine and you can go after these weak pawns and win the game. And of course Magnus is a endgame king. He is going to convert this game without much problem. And let's say king to b1, saving the a2, knight takes g2, and then the game continues. Or even c2 check, forcing the king, and then rook a2 check, and then again king b3, rook takes f2. This is again completely winning. But in the game, what happened, he played the other move, that is king to h7, and now he actually blended the game. If you want, you can pause the video and try to find the checkmate in 11 moves. uh, okay, the computer reads 11 moves mate, but as a human, I'm telling you, it is not going to happen in 11 moves. Most of the times when the computer says 10 moves checkmate or 15 moves checkmate, if we find the first few moves, it is going to be like 3 to 5 moves maybe. So in this position, Ludwig find the brilliant knight sacrifice, that is knight to g5 check, h into g5, and then h into g5, discovered check by the rook, and only moves like knight h5 and then bishop h6 are the moves. If you put the bishop in between the rook, rook takes h6 check, and then king g7 in the next few moves, or in the next move you can deliver mate if you, or if black plays any random move without any forcing moves. But in the game, he tries the other one, knight h5 blocking, and now comes the second brilliant move of the game, that is rook takes h5 check, g into h5, opening up the line for the light square bishop, and the heroic bishop comes to e4 square, delivers the check. And now there is only one move for black, that is you have to play pawn to f5, and then Ludwig did this. He takes f6, ampersand checkmate. Yes, this happened in I think last year it happened. It was actually, again, I told you, know, or as the topic suggests, or it was a random blitz chess game, and Magnus simply lost the game in just 26 moves, and he lost in a way that nobody can lose. So e takes f6 and Passant checkmate. I hope you like this quick review of this game. Please give it a thumbs up, and still, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, consider subscribing it. As usual, this is Chess Wiser, your wise choice to improve your chess.